So we sold the engine out of the 64. We're gonna go ahead and yank that Y block out. New owner is coming on Saturday, it's in 2 days. But I got a lot of other projects, so we got to really get this done. Luckily, everything's out of the way. Shouldn't be hard. We got the engine out of the 64 Ford and it's ready for its new home. We got it pushed out back. Still on the fence what we're going to do with that one. But in the meantime, the Oldsmobile came back. And then he had a little mechanical failure with the engine on the way over here. Blew out an exhaust gasket on the donut on the passenger side. And then it also may have broke a rocker on the driver's side head. So we're going to get the valve cover off and check out the rocker portion of it first. And we'll go over a couple things with this engine and what to look for and how to help maybe diagnose these noises. Well, right off the bat, we got some major problems. Your rockers should never be that loose. That's a good chance where his noise is coming from. We found a piece of a broken valve spring down there. And if you look down in here, you can see some of these push rods have excessive play in them. You can probably see these over here better. Yeah, that's not even close to being lashed. So we have some kind of failure here. Maybe the lifters have collapsed, or the camshaft's wiped out, or the rocker arms are just a little trashed. But let's tear into it a little more and see what happens. As you saw, we tore down the Oldsmobile engine and we found some damage, including the rockers, lifters, push rods. Worst of all, though, we found glitter in the oil. Now, when you see that bronze, brass-colored glitter in your oil, that usually indicates a bearing failure, whether it's cam bearings, main bearings, or rod bearings. But either way, that's a failure that's going to continue to get worse. There's nothing you can do to make it better now, aside from replacing and repairing. So I contacted the customer and let him know, and he's debating on what he wants to do next. He may just band-aid the engine and send it down the road, or he might have another engine we can go ahead and put in there. For now, unfortunately, we're gonna have to put her out back in the back burner yard, and we'll move on to some other projects that we have. Let's go over the steering that we did a little bit. Now, you saw that we mounted our gearbox just tacked in place until everything is finalized. You see that we now have a steering bar that connects from the pitman arm to the steering arm on the spindle. And we've also got a panhard bar in place for the front as well. Now, I'm gonna go over why we ended up going with this low mount steering and different options that you possibly could have done. Let's take a closer look at everything. So, the steering bar traditionally mounts up here on the spindle. Why don't you come over here and we'll show a little bit more on the spindle. So if you look right here, typically there's a hoop that comes out right here, and we have ours mounted on the bottom, right? We had to make this bracket from scratch. We've also got our panhard bar over here, mounted to the frame and the axle. We'll go back and trim it up and make it look nice later. So the reason that we had to go with the lower steering is because with the upper, we were actually hitting our bag. Now, we can't flip our pitman arm on top because then it'll actually steer the wrong direction. Some people choose to mount it inside the cowl. You actually have your pitman arm coming out and steering on top, which is fine, but that's not what we're going for here. With this setup, it steers on the bottom. We don't have any bump steer, and our geometry is pretty nice. You want your steering link to line up pretty much with your radius arm or your trailing arm or your wishbone, whatever you want to call it. This way, you eliminate bump steer. So we're going to go ahead and button up the steering here and start working on the steering column next. Unfortunately, we're out of money, so we're going to have to wait till we get some more money to order a steering column. But there's plenty of other free stuff that we can do, and we'll continue on with that. There she is, singing along. Well, the old girl has probably found a new home, it looks like. We did get another carburetor in, and you can see it's nice and shiny. It was like 50 bucks on eBay. But I did have to make some kind of crazy homemade linkage here to make it operate, but as you can see, it does work. That's going to wrap it up for this week. Again, 39 Oldsmobile is going to be on the back burner until we sort out the engine. We're going to keep rolling hard on the roadster as much as we can. And we've also got the 64 Ford trucks. One's probably going to a new home. The other one's going to come up and hopefully start on the air ride suspension, depending on our finances around here. because we have way too many hobbies and spend way too much money on bad things. And I need a supervision from an adult because I'm not responsible. But I have fun. And that's what's really important, except if you want to pay your mortgage. Don't take financial advice from me. I think I've said that before, but just reminding you of that. Don't do that. Check us out on social media, Greasy Boy Customs, Facebook and Instagram. Feel free to email us at rustybrothersgarage@gmail.com. I'm done for the day. I'm going to eat this cheeseburger and go take a nap. We'll see you guys later.